In November 2022, $32 billion vanished in less than a week. Sam Bankman-Fried went from billionaire crypto hero to federal prisoner. His company, FTX, was the second largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. Millions of customers trusted him with their money. He stole it all. This is the story of the biggest financial fraud in crypto history. A story of greed, lies, and one man's spectacular fall from grace. By the end of this documentary, you'll understand how this happened, why no one stopped it, and what it means for the future of cryptocurrency. This is the FTX collapse. Sam Bankman-Fried didn't look like a typical fraudster. He wore cargo shorts and old t-shirts. He slept on a beanbag in his office. He drove a Toyota Corolla. He talked constantly about saving the world through something called effective altruism. He was, by all appearances, different from the Wall Street types who caused the 2008 financial crisis. He was the adult in the room, the responsible one. The billionaire who cared about doing good, not just making money. That was the image. The reality was very different. Sam grew up in California, the son of two Stanford law professors. He was brilliant, socially awkward, and obsessed with making money not for luxury, but to give it away. He studied physics at MIT, graduated in 2014, and went straight to work at Jane Street Capital, a quantitative trading firm in New York. He was good at it, really good. Within a few years, he had learned the ins and outs of high-frequency trading, arbitrage, and market inefficiencies. But he wasn't satisfied. He wanted to make more money so he could donate more money. That's when he discovered cryptocurrency. In 2017, Sam founded Alameda Research, a cryptocurrency trading firm. The name came from the street where Jane Street's office was located. The business model was simple: exploit price differences between crypto exchanges. Bitcoin might trade for $10,000 on one exchange and $10,100 on another. Buy low, sell high, pocket the difference. Do it millions of times per day. It worked. Alameda made money. A lot of money. Sam became a millionaire, then a multimillionaire. But there was a problem. Moving money between exchanges was slow. Fees were high. Banks didn't like dealing with crypto companies. Sam needed a better solution. So in 2019, he founded FTX, a cryptocurrency exchange built for traders like him. Fast, efficient, low fees. Based in Hong Kong initially, then moved to the Bahamas for favorable regulations. FTX grew fast, really fast. Within 2 years, it became one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world. By 2021, it was processing tens of billions of dollars in daily trading volume. Sam was no longer just wealthy, he was a billionaire. And everyone wanted a piece of the action. In January 2022, FTX raised $400 million from investors at a valuation of $32 billion. Not 32 million, 32 billion with a B. The investors included Sequoia Capital, one of the most prestigious venture capital firms in Silicon Valley. They invested $213 million. Temasek, Singapore's sovereign wealth fund, invested $275 million. The Ontario Teachers' Pension Plan invested $95 million. These weren't amateur investors. These were sophisticated institutions managing billions of dollars. And they believed in Sam Bankman-Fried. FTX spent money like it was printing it. Because, in a sense, it was. The company launched aggressive marketing campaigns, Super Bowl commercials featuring Larry David, partnerships with Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen, sponsorship deals with the Miami Heat Arena, renamed FTX Arena, Formula One racing, Major League Baseball umpire patches. Everywhere you looked, FTX was there. Sam himself became a media darling. He appeared on podcasts, TV shows, and magazine covers. Bloomberg called him the next Warren Buffett. Fortune named him one of the world's greatest leaders. He testified before Congress about cryptocurrency regulation. He met with senators, White House officials, and heads of state. He was 29 years old. And he was using his wealth to buy influence. FTX and Sam personally donated more than $70 million to political campaigns in the 2022 election cycle. He gave to Democrats. He gave to Republicans. He gave to anyone who would listen to him talk about crypto regulation. He positioned himself as the responsible adult advocating for sensible rules. Protect consumers, he said. Prevent fraud, he said. Make crypto safe, he said. The irony would become clear soon enough. Behind the public image, behind the cargo shorts and the effective altruism speeches, Sam was building something very different from what he claimed. FTX wasn't just a cryptocurrency exchange. It was a house of cards. Here's how a crypto exchange is supposed to work. You deposit money or cryptocurrency. The exchange holds it in custody. When you want to trade, the exchange facilitates the transaction. When you want to withdraw, you get your money back. Simple. The exchange makes money from trading fees. It doesn't gamble with customer funds. It doesn't use deposits for its own purposes. That's how it's supposed to work. That's not how FTX worked. FTX had a sister company, Alameda Research. Remember, that was Sam's original trading firm. Legally, they were separate entities. In practice, they were joined at the hip. And that was the problem. Alameda had access to FTX customer funds, not just access, unlimited access. Alameda could borrow billions of dollars from FTX customer deposits and use it however it wanted. Trading, investments, loans, real estate, political donations, anything. And there was no separation, no oversight, no accountability. Sam owned both companies. He controlled both companies. The same small group of people ran both companies. They all lived together in a luxury penthouse in the Bahamas. They worked together. They played video games together. And they committed fraud together. The woman running Alameda was Caroline Ellison. She was Sam's ex-girlfriend. She had worked with him at Jane Street. When he started Alameda, he brought her in. In 2021, he made her co-CEO. In 2022, she became sole CEO. Caroline knew what was happening. She knew Alameda was using FTX customer money. She knew the risk, and she did it anyway. By mid-2022, Alameda had borrowed $8 billion from FTX, $8 billion that belonged to customers. Customers who had no idea their money was gone. Where did the money go? Some went into trading bets that went bad. Some went into venture capital investments in other crypto companies. Some went into Bahamian real estate. The FTX inner circle bought 35 properties worth $300 million. Luxury penthouses, beachfront estates, all purchased with customer funds. Sam bought a stake in Robinhood, the stock trading app, using money he borrowed from Alameda, which had borrowed it from FTX customers. A circular loop of fraud. And then there was the FTT token. FTX had created its own cryptocurrency called FTT. Alameda owned billions of dollars worth of FTT. On paper, Alameda looked solvent. Its balance sheet showed assets exceeding liabilities. But most of those assets were FTT tokens. Here's the problem. FTT only had value because people believed in FTX. If FTX failed, FTT would be worthless. So Alameda's solvency depended on FTX's success, and FTX's stability depended on Alameda not failing. It was a circular dependency, a ticking time bomb. And in November 2022, the bomb went off. On November 2nd, CoinDesk, a cryptocurrency news site, published an article. It revealed Alameda's balance sheet. The numbers were shocking. Alameda's assets were mostly FTT tokens. Loans and illiquid investments made up the rest. There was almost no actual cash. Alameda was technically insolvent if FTT collapsed. The article raised questions. Why was Alameda so dependent on FTT? Where was all the customer money? Was FTX safe? 4 days later, on November 6th, Changpeng Zhao, known as CZ ran Binance, FTX's biggest competitor and the world's largest crypto exchange. His tweet was simple but devastating. Due to recent revelations, Binance would liquidate all of its FTT holdings, about $500 million worth. The market panicked. If Binance was dumping FTT, maybe others should too. The price of FTT began falling fast. Sam tried to calm fears. He tweeted that FTX was fine, assets were fine, everything was backed 1-to-1. Don't worry, he said. But people did worry. They started withdrawing money from FTX, a lot of money. On November 6th alone, customers tried to withdraw over $1 billion. FTX didn't have it. The next day, November 7th, withdrawal requests hit $6 billion. This wasn't a slow leak. This was a full-blown bank run, and FTX couldn't pay. Sam scrambled. He called investors. He called other exchanges. He needed money fast, billions of dollars fast. CZ at Binance initially agreed to acquire FTX and cover the shortfall, a rescue deal. Sam announced it publicly. Crisis averted, he said. But 24 hours later, Binance backed out. After reviewing FTX's books, CZ tweeted that the situation was beyond Binance's ability to help. The company was riddled with mishandled customer funds and regulatory investigations. Binance was out. FTX was finished. On November 11, 2022, FTX filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Sam resigned as CEO. John Ray III, the lawyer who had cleaned up Enron, took over, and what he found shocked even him. In a court filing, Ray wrote, "Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information." This was a guy who had dealt with Enron, and FTX was worse. $8 billion of customer funds were missing, gone, spent, stolen. The exact number would later rise to over $10 billion. FTX had no accounting department. Financial records were kept in QuickBooks. Important documents were stored in personal email accounts. Sam had signed off on transactions via group chats. Billions of dollars moved on the say-so of a small group of 20-somethings living in a Bahamas penthouse. Customers were devastated. People lost their life savings. Small businesses lost their operating capital. Charities lost donations. Individual investors, institutions, everyone was hit. Over 1 million creditors had claims against FTX. And Sam? He was still in the Bahamas, still giving interviews, still trying to control the narrative. He claimed he hadn't committed fraud. He said it was just bad management, a liquidity crisis, poor accounting, not intentional theft. He was lying, and prosecutors knew it. On December 12, 2022, Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York charged him with 8 criminal counts: wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, money laundering, campaign finance violations. The indictment laid it out clearly. Sam had used FTX customer deposits to fund Alameda Research. He used customer money to make political donations. He used customer money to buy real estate. He used customer money to make venture investments. And he lied about all of it. Caroline Ellison, the Alameda CEO, flipped. She agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. So did Gary Wang, FTX's co-founder and chief technology officer. They testified that Sam ordered them to use customer funds, that he knew what was happening, that it was intentional fraud, not incompetence. Sam was extradited to the United States and released on a $250 million bond. He lived under house arrest at his parents' home in California. His trial began in October 2023. It lasted 5 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. Caroline testified for 3 days. She described how Sam directed her to borrow customer funds, how he created fake balance sheets to hide the theft, how he assured her everything would be fine as long as the market kept going up. Gary Wang testified about the backdoor he built into FTX's code at Sam's request. It allowed Alameda to have a negative balance, to borrow more than it had, to take customer money without limits. FTX customers testified about losing everything: their homes, their businesses, their retirements, lives destroyed. And the defense? Sam testified in his own defense, and it backfired. He tried to portray himself as naive and overwhelmed, just a kid who didn't understand risk management. But prosecutors tore him apart. They showed him his own tweets claiming everything was fine when he knew it wasn't. They showed his lavish spending while customers' money was missing. They showed his political donations buying influence while he claimed to support regulation. On November 2nd, 2023, exactly 1 year after the CoinDesk article that started it all, the jury found Sam Bankman-Fried guilty on all 7 counts: wire fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, all of it. In March 2024, Judge Lewis Kaplan sentenced him to 25 years in federal prison. The judge called Sam's crimes among the most serious financial frauds in American history. Sam showed no remorse. The judge said, he lied on the stand. He obstructed justice. He deserved every year of that sentence. Sam also had to forfeit $11 billion, his mansions, his investments, his cryptocurrency holdings, everything. He's now inmate number 89939-048 at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. He'll be 62 years old when he gets out. His parents are in their 70s. They may not live to see him free again. So what went wrong? How did this happen? The answer is simple and complex at the same time. Greed, hubris, lack of oversight, but also something deeper, a belief that the rules didn't apply. Sam believed he was smarter than everyone else. He believed the ends justified the means. If using customer funds allowed him to make more money, and if that money went to effective altruism causes, wasn't that okay? Wasn't breaking the rules justified if it led to a greater good? No, it wasn't. And the law agreed. FTX failed because there were no adults in the room. The board had no real power. Investors didn't ask hard questions. Auditors rubber-stamped questionable practices. Regulators were asleep at the wheel. Everyone was making too much money to care. And customers paid the price. There are lessons here. Big ones. First, not your keys, not your crypto. If you don't control the private keys to your cryptocurrency, you don't actually own it. Leaving money on an exchange is trusting a third party, and that trust can be betrayed. Second, celebrity endorsements mean nothing. Tom Brady promoted FTX, so did Giselle, and Steph Curry, and Larry David. They were paid millions to do it. They didn't do due diligence, they didn't understand the risks, and now they're being sued by victims trying to recover their losses. Third, regulation matters. FTX operated in the Bahamas specifically to avoid strict U.S. regulations. That lack of oversight allowed the fraud to happen. If FTX had been subject to real audits, real scrutiny, this might have been caught earlier. Fourth, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. FTX offered high interest rates on deposits, instant withdrawals, seamless trading. It all seemed perfect because it was a facade. Behind the scenes, it was chaos. And fifth, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Many FTX customers had most or all of their money on the platform. Diversification isn't just a Wall Street cliche. It's essential. Spread your risk. Don't trust one company with everything. The FTX collapse destroyed trust in cryptocurrency. Billions of dollars in market value evaporated. Entire companies went bankrupt because they had funds on FTX. The contagion spread across the industry. But crypto didn't die. It adapted. Exchanges now publish proof of reserves. They hire real auditors. They submit to regulatory oversight. The industry learned the hard way that growth without accountability leads to disaster. And surprisingly, FTX customers may get some of their money back. The bankruptcy estate under John Ray's leadership has recovered billions of dollars in assets, some through liquidating FTX's venture investments, some through clawing back fraudulent transfers. The exact percentage isn't clear yet, but it's more than anyone expected after an $8 billion hole. Sam Bankman-Fried, meanwhile, sits in prison, his empire gone, his reputation destroyed, his fortune seized. The boy genius who wanted to save the world became one of history's greatest fraudsters. He had everything, and he threw it all away for greed. In the end, FTX is a story as old as finance itself. A boom built on lies collapses when reality intrudes. Investors who ignored red flags lose their money. Fraudsters get caught. And the cycle begins again with the next would-be genius promising to change the world. The difference this time? It happened in crypto, an industry that prided itself on being different, decentralized, trustless. FTX proved that new technology doesn't eliminate old-fashioned fraud. It just gives fraud new tools. Sam's downfall was complete. From billionaire to prisoner, from hero to villain, from the savior of crypto to its biggest cautionary tale. This was FTX, the $32 billion fraud, the collapse that shook an industry, and a reminder that no matter how smart you are, no matter how good your intentions seem, the rules still apply. And if you break them, eventually you pay the price.